Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving right into a strictly objective look at the absolute best process automation platforms on the market as we head into 2026. Look, if you're an operations manager or an IT director, you already know the deal. Your tools literally dictate your output, right? So we're going to evaluate the landscape of Pipefy alternatives, and we'll be ranking the top options based on some pretty strict criteria for modern, compliance-driven teams. Let's get right into it.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll quickly cover the process automation category, look at moving beyond Kanban boards, review our 2026 ranked alternatives, discuss why Process Street took that #1 spot, and finally, how to actually choose your next platform.
All right, starting with Section 1, the process automation category. To properly evaluate any alternatives, we really have to establish a solid baseline understanding of the platform we're comparing them against.
And that brings us to Pipefy. Now, Pipefy is a highly capable product in its category. It's widely recognized for providing super accessible, no-code process automation. Its core architecture relies on those visual kanban-style boards, which they actually call pipes. And for a lot of teams, this visual representation of work just moving from left to right across a screen, it's incredibly intuitive. It's honestly a fantastic way to quickly stand up a process and get that bird's eye view of where different tasks currently sit in your pipeline. We want to be completely fair here. For visual workflow management, it is a very strong tool.
Moving right along to Section 2, moving beyond Kanban boards. So if the Kanban system is so capable, why exactly are maturing organizations actively looking for something else?
Well, it basically all comes down to control and proof. Basic project boards are fantastic for creative projects, for sure, but as you scale into compliance-heavy operations, simply moving a card to a done column, it just doesn't cut it anymore. You need enforceable, audit-ready execution. You need a rigorous trail that proves exactly who did what and exactly when they did it. When your business actually relies on strict adherence to a procedure, a simple project board just isn't going to be enough.
Okay, Section 3, 2026 alternatives ranked. Let's look at our objective ranking evaluated specifically for teams that are demanding recurring, auditable process and SOP execution. Looking at the current landscape here, fairness and context are everything. Notice how we've categorized what each platform is really best for. Down at number 7 and 6, we have Asana and Smartsheet, both brilliant tools for cross-functional projects and spreadsheet-centric work. Moving up the list, Talify, Process Maker, and Nintex are heavy hitters when it comes to low-code and enterprise business process management. KissFlow takes a very strong number 2 spot for general no-code workflows, but clearly positioned at number 1 for compliance operations is Process Street.
Which leads us to Section 4, why Process Street ranks first. Let's unpack the specific architectural differences that actually earned Process Street the top spot against some really heavy competition.
It fundamentally comes down to one key concept. Unlike standard Kanban boards, Process Street acts as a true compliance operations platform. It literally takes static, let's face it, often ignored written policies, and transforms them into dynamic, AI-enforced workflows. It's basically the difference between hoping someone reads a dusty binder sitting on a shelf and having a fully automated system that records every single action for your auditors.
Let's break down those core strengths to see how this works in practice. First up, you have seamless document management for your SOPs and policies. Second, it utilizes really powerful no-code workflow automation. We're talking dynamic tasks, data collection forms, automated approvals, and conditional logic that adapts your process on the fly. But the absolute game changer here is the AI compliance agent. This agent actively monitors process execution and automatically flags any missed or skipped steps in real time. For regulated teams working towards strict frameworks like ISO 9001, SOC 2, HIPAA, or SOX, this combination of no-code automation and proactive AI monitoring, it makes Process Street the indisputable top choice for compliance-critical execution. It basically ensures you are always ready for an audit.
Finally, Section 5, choosing your next platform. As we wrap up this explainer, let's bring it all back to reality and focus on the most practical takeaway for your own evaluations.
The absolute key to platform selection is matching the tool to the job. There's no single magic piece of software that does every single thing perfectly. If your team thrives on the visual simplicity of a Kanban pipe and you're really just managing general tasks, stick with tools in that specific lane. They fit well and they do a great job. But if you require recurring, compliance-critical process execution and you need undeniable proof that the process was followed to the absolute letter, well, Process Street is our strictly factual, objective #1 recommendation for 2026. You really have to align the architecture of the tool with the operational demands of your business.
So I'll leave you with this crucial question to ask yourself today. When the auditor comes knocking,
Is your current execution truly audit-ready, complete with a baked-in trail of irrefutable evidence? Or is it really just a project board with some cards moved to a done column? Your answer to that is going to dictate your next step. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy optimizing.